As a child, I went through very hard times, but I didn't regret the past because it prepared me for the future and made me what I am today. My father, first of all, was a farmer. He got to know my mom when they were on a conference. He saw my mother once, and he made a proposal to her to get married to her. Can you imagine that? He only saw her once. They had 5 children. My father farmed, and as children had a wonderful childhood. We had lots of room to play on the farm. We had unity and peace in the family until one day, and everything changed. We heard a lot of noise outside, and we wondered what it was. And we ran out, and there were a lot of planes flying in the sky. And my dad looked, and he said, "I think the war has started." I remember one letter came to one of our neighbors, and I will never forget that day. We were there as our family when we heard what had happened. Her husband was killed, and she was told not to open the casket when it arrives. So the day when the casket was there, we were there to console her. A few other people were there, and they were all looking at the casket here and there. And the poor wife didn't know what to do. She was not supposed to open the casket. How can a wife not open a casket if she knows that the husband is in there? So they pried the casket open. And I was standing, I was a little girl, I was standing by the casket. And there was the husband in pieces, his head lying under his arms. My dad saw me, and he chased me away. He said, "Go home, go in the house." Well, I obeyed him. I went into the house. But I have seen enough. I never forget the picture. There were many, many thousands of people who experienced the same thing. And when I think back of some of my experiences, what I have saw and what I have experienced, I think why do we have war today? Didn't we learn from the war? Didn't we learn from all those experiences? As the years went on, it was so bad that the people were so afraid they started to flee, to leave the country. We were still living on our farm, but then people came and took the house over, the whole farm over. We only were left with a little room in a corner, and where we lived, and my dad was gone. They took him, and we didn't know where he was, but we later on found out they took him to Siberia, to Russia. And that went on for a while, and we had very bad food. I remember sometimes we had soup, just water and a little bit of potato and little bits of bacon, which was so bad, they had maggots already, and I scooped the maggots to the side of the plate. I couldn't eat them, and I just scooped up the soup because we were hungry. But my mother and I, we had the worst place. My mother was beaten so badly for nothing, for no reason. She lifted up her little blouse, and she showed me her whole back was blue and black. Her shoulder was black. And that happened again and again. I lost count. I didn't even want to know it. After so many years, we heard that people ran away to West Germany, and we were thinking maybe we should do the same thing. My mom went to visit a family, and she made a plan with them. We knew that they were good people and we could trust them. They drove us by horse and buggy to the river, and we had to take a boat over the river to come to the next city. Now we had to go to a station and buy a ticket to go on with our trip. When we got there, we were so tired from walking, and I fell asleep. And I must have cried out with a nightmare, because almost that moment, a station police came, and he looked at us, and he said, "Where are your papers?" Well, we had no papers. He didn't let us go, even so we begged him. He took us to the station office, and there were several people sitting in the office, and the boss, I guess it was, wanted to see what Mom got in her package. And then he went on rummaging in the box, and Mom had a Bible that she took up. That was a precious thing that she had left. And he gave her the Bible, and he said, "You can take this and pray that you get to Hitler safely." Well, we had really tried to get away from that station, and inside we prayed like never ever before. And just to hear that comment, "Take that Bible and pray that you will get to Hitler," that meant something to us. "Lord, did you say you're going to let us go? He's going to let us go?" He did. From there, we kept on going. Once we crossed that border to West Germany, and there we almost kissed the ground. We thought, "Freedom! Thank you, God! Freedom, freedom!" We were in Germany about 3 years. Then we immigrated to Canada. When we were in Canada, for a while, I was working in a hospital, and while I was working there, I met a young man, and we talked a little bit. I found he was very different from other people. He was a God-fearing man. He was gentle. He was a smart man. He was very kind. I began to concentrate more on him, and it seemed that my heart was pounding a little bit toward him, and I just fell in love with him. It took a few years that he became my husband. When we were married, we found out that both of us had a call to help other people and do something for others. So we went to Kenya. My husband, besides a nurse, he was training for a nurse at the hospital when he was there, but he was also a teacher. And he had a big class of high school students, and he taught chemistry, biology, and I helped in the library, and I had a lot of visitors, and we raised 3 children. I had very bad nightmares after we left our old country, and I couldn't sleep. I would wake up shaking and sweating, and I didn't like that. I was chased by Russians and Polish people. Then we got to know a couple Polish people, by all means, were Polish people. And they were very nice people, very good, a couple, and the mother of the man was with them. And they were very good people because they were so good to us. It came to me that there are bad and good people in the world, in every country. These people were actually a tool that I lost all the nightmares with God's help. When I think over my long life, the first thing what I'm thankful for is that I know God, because He was the one that helped me through all my life. In good and bad times, I could always turn to Him when nobody was around. He always heard my prayer. Also, I would like to pass on a legacy to my children and grandchildren. I would hope that they have learned and that something wiped off from me, and that they do something where I set them an example. Where I didn't have a chance, that they would have the chance to learn and to study and to become smart people and good people towards others.